Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for a max effort lower session. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. This workout isn't super long, a lot of really good work done. Didn't take me a super long time to finish it. I went with the Cambered bar with 40 pounds of chains today on a 12-inch box, which is a below parallel box for me. And I noticed when I started using this bar recently, a few weeks ago, on a box again, it really fatigued and cramped up my low back. Made me realize I do need to hit my lower back a lot harder, so I thought I would try it again today. And I basically just ramped up to that same weight that caused the back cramp, but added chains. And it really wasn't a max. I got there, I'm like, I could have made another jump, but I'm like, I'm going to deadlift. It's a good training max. It's probably 90% or higher. It's what we want. And I decided to go with a conventional variation today because it's a new dynamic effort wave. And I'm going to be back to bands, and it's really hard to do sumo with bands. So I'm going to go for a conventional wave. And so I'm going to do all my pulling conventional for this 3-week wave, and then we'll go back to all sumo pulling. And I think that's how I'm going to work it, because I program my clients the same way. And so again, I will program accessories for my weak link on the conventional, and then in the next wave when we go back to sumo, we'll program them for the sumo deadlift. So I just built up to, relatively challenging 565 off of a 1-inch deficit. Again, got above 90%, wasn't a true max. You guys could tell it wasn't super grindy or anything. And again, I noticed I stick right below the knee. That's my sticking point. So I decided for supplemental work, I think for this block, I'm going to do pause deadlifts right below the knee. Now, some people are going to say, Jason, I thought you didn't like this lift. I didn't. And I made a video over a week ago that'll be in the breakfast chats, but I'm like 30 breakfast chats ahead. Because I'm trying to get all those old videos I made last year in the rotation. I want to get out every video I made in 2020 in the rotation, so I'm only putting up one breakfast chat every day, but I film at least 2 a day. So trying to get through that old backlog so that everything I upload for the back half of this year is going to be made this year. And I made a video on why I've been willing to change my stance on this specific supplemental lift, and you guys will see it when it comes out. Today I decided to just do 2 sets. They were challenging. They felt good. I liked the way it felt, but my low back was really, really fatigued. So I stopped at 2 sets of 10 with just 355. And next time I do these, I'll probably try to increase the weight slightly, and I'll do 3 sets, right? We'll do a little bit more work. But I felt like those maxes today left my low back fatigued. The training maxes did, because of the specific lifts I chose. I've realized, all right, I need to skip the good mornings today, because the way I'm doing the good mornings is a lot of stress on the low back, and I need my low back work today to be all reverse hypers, right? I need a little bit of therapeutic work there to help with that recovery, because my low back just felt a little beat up. And, again, people say, is it injured? No, it's not injured, but the fatigue is there. And this is how we avoid injury. I've been pushing for the last few workouts. I've been pushing those dead stop good mornings from a deep angle for a little while, and they hit the low back so hard that I'm like, well, we'll focus on the other stuff. So because I cut out the good mornings today, I did more volume on all my supplemental work. Took me a bit to kind of get in the groove. The first set of these sucked, but I bumped the weight slightly, only 4 pounds a side. It's only another 8 pounds. The first set's horrible. So 79 pounds each, and I'll bump these up next workout a little bit. I'll try to bump it a hair. And yeah, I'm going to come up with some weird numbers, because those are 12.1 pound handles. And those clamps, I got the new clamps in. Those are Titan ones. They're metal clamps, and they're listed as 1 pound each. So I just kind of threw that into the dumbbell total. And that's going to matter when I use those clamps for dumbbells, because when I'm doing smaller exercises, that extra 2 pounds is going to matter. When you're doing 25 pounds, 25 versus a 27 pound dumbbell for a small movement, we need to track it. So I'm just going to get in the habit of tracking those. But I just went with 79. I'll go over 80 next time. We'll bump it up. So I ended up doing 4 sets of these, because the only quad work we're getting outside of this today was really the 2 sets of pause deadlifts. Now we're going to get people who say deadlifts don't work quads. Yes, they do. Study biomechanics and look at EMG data. They absolutely work the quads. And something like a pause deadlift is actually a decent hypertrophy exercise. Totally different beast than a regular deadlift. You will not see me promoting the normal conventional deadlift as a hypertrophy movement. Pause deadlift's a little bit different. Totally different stimulus to fatigue, right? We get some different muscle activation from it. But really, they need their own videos, right? As far as me explaining the force production demands of the pause deadlift, particularly stopping at your sticking point and then restarting. For rep work, I do not advocate it going really heavy because we don't want to ingrain that some of those movement patterns going heavy. I'm not sure it's ideal to be doing doubles or triples on. Rep work, I think it can bring a lot to the table as a hypertrophy movement that is specific to your weak points, right? So back over to these, because I'm still, like I said, I'm getting used to the dumbbells still. We're just now getting back up towards the weight I was doing with the safety bar after a workout, and we'll try to pass it. But again, still got to kind of get into my groove. And the other thing I've noticed, I can't play around with these because I'm having to hold these dumbbells and they're going to get heavier. I'm having to hold them for 20 total reps, right? I can't play around on this. I've got to get into position quick and get it done because my grip starts to get, fatigued eventually. But here's the beauty of it. It's extra grip training. I do dead hangs every day, which actually I've cut it down to just one all-out set early in the morning after my breakfast chats before I go back to bed for a couple hours. I do one all-out dead hang. It seems to be enough for my shoulders, but I'm doing loaded carries. I'm doing a lot of stuff like this. It's just accumulating more and more grip work. But I felt like today, because of the limited volume, I needed a 4 set of this. That way I got 6 sets for my quads in. And keeping in mind, I'm sled dragging right now 6 days a week. This is the only day I don't sled drag. Unless weather prevents me right now, I am up to now 6 days. That's what I'm doing. I'm dragging a sled and I'm skipping it on max effort lower day, and that's it. So my quads are actually getting a lot of work from that. I feel like my quads have filled back out since I've done that. They've come back up, right? As far as me feeling like I had lost a little bit. So it gave me 6 sets for my quads. There's plenty of glute work and stuff there. Same thing on the glute ham raises. I'm like, well, if I'm not going to do the good mornings, I want to do an extra set of these. Because those deadlifts hit my hamstrings. Split squats don't. So those pause deadlifts gave me 2 sets for hammies. This gives me 4. So I got 6 sets for my hamstrings, not counting the reverse hypers. I'd argue they are a good hamstring exercise. When you swing, they're a better hamstring exercise and do them strict like I'm doing them at the moment. I don't feel as much hamstring personally. I feel more low back and less hamstring. And I need the low back. But the way I'm doing these now with the full range of motion on these glute ham raises, these just light my hamstrings up. This is a complete hamstring exercise. You know how we can talk about certain exercises will hit, a couple of the heads of a muscle. So just like when I do the tricep extensions back behind my head, especially with the dumbbells and stuff, we're hitting all 3 heads of the tricep, and some dumbbell or some other movements only hit 2 heads. Hamstrings are the same way. A lot of really good hamstring movements really only work 2 heads directly, such as any sort of hip hinge. This works all 3 heads. So this is actually a complete hamstring exercise in which we have worked both functions of the hamstring through a full range of motion. That's why it's such a good movement. Plus the fact that we're moving our body weight through space is not a bad thing either. That's a more controversial topic, but as far as what's happening biomechanically, good exercise. So we got a decent hamstring exercise out of the pause deadlifts. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's near the top, but it's a good hamstring exercise combined with a very complete hamstring exercise that puts a stretch and a contraction. Works both joints involved, all 3 heads. So we got some really good hamstring work. And then, we could argue the reverse hypers are maybe half sets for hamstrings. The way I'm doing them now, if I had to call it that. So really it's going to be another 2.5 sets. So we've really got about 8 to 9 work sets for hamstrings. We got 6 good work sets for quads. And that's about what I need right now with the sled drags, because the sled drags hit my quads and my calves. They get super pumped doing them. There's adductor work spread all through here. I'm going to de-emphasize adductors just a hair, though, on the conventional stuff. I mean, we're going to get it on the wider stance squats and the speed squats. And I actually feel adductors on the glute ham raise, personally. I feel quite a bit of adductor, me personally. And then we'll hammer adductors hard again in the next 3-week wave when we go back to sumo. But a lot of this I like to I'm letting my hips rest a little bit, and then my back gets a little rest too when we go back over. And that's kind of the idea. I've discussed that quite a bit in the past of why we rotate sumo and conventional. But the same thing for the variations. The supplemental lifts fall into the same category of the fatigue patterns also. So again, we'll have 3 weeks of really, really hard adductor work with 3 weeks of less hard adductor work and hip work and so on as I rotate it through the 3-week waves. And again, because I'm going to do it that way on the speed work, I will adjust my supplemental lifts and even what I choose to max on. So I'll probably only max on conventional variations during these waves. And then when I'm doing the sumo speed pulls, I'll max on sumo variations right now. And it'll give me a good balance and to avoid overuse, right? We're going to avoid overuse of certain joints and muscle insertions. For again, stuff I have to pay attention to these days. But I did bump the weight on these reverse hypers. We went up to 240 now, and then I got more than 10 reps on the 5th set. So I'm in a good place there. That means I need to go ahead and bump it a little bit next time, right? We need to bump it a little bit next time. And I've already set that a goal I need to get to is 270 to 280 for sets of 10 strict. That's a shorter term goal I've set. Keeping in mind when I first started doing these stricter like this, where I don't let my feet swing forward, so we have control of the eccentric, and I try to squeeze at the top and really contract my back. 180 pounds left me just limping almost. So we put 60 pounds on that. Okay, we're seeing some good progress since I've gone over to this. And my low back feels tougher, right? That same lift last time I maxed off of the box with that bar, with that weight before the change, it left me cramping up really bad. So the low back is getting stronger again. So I'm quite happy about that fact. But overall, good workout, not super fatiguing. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.